All right, you two, we back with another one, man. Today we're gonna be talking about the optic that y'all see right here that I have on my 19, the Holosun 507 Comp, the Ronin Tactics Edition. Now, before we get into the video, man, this is a follow-up video on how the optic has held up. I had this optic for probably not even a year, just under a year now, at the time of this video, and just wanted to give y'all my initial feels about it, basically, after putting 2,500 rounds through this between two guns. Now, before we get into it, the Ronin Tactics Edition, I have no idea what that even is. I really just got this thing because I like the cool little dragon emblem on the side, and I really just wanted the 507 Comp because I like the tall optic, and it has the big window on it. When I saw the Ronin Tactics Edition, I think that was their newest offering at the time, and I didn't like I said, I didn't really know too much about it. It just looked cool. It had the green dot, and I don't have it on right now. I got to turn it on. But yeah, I just really liked the dragon, man. I know that sounds crazy, but the price difference wasn't too much different from the green dot because it comes in red dot, but obviously the green dot's more expensive. I always go for green dots, man, because in all honesty, red dots just don't work for my bad eyes. I got astigmatism, so my eyes just pick up the green dot much better. So like anything that I've ever had red dot, I got rid of it or just simply couldn't use it. So I just, pretty much converted over to green dot. So any optic that I purchase now on, it must be a green dot. So either way, I was gonna pay a premium, a little extra for the green dot version of the 507 Comp, but I just went ahead and just paid the little extra money for the 507 Comp, the Ronin Tactics. Like I said, it just looked cooler and I liked it. But overall, to optic, man, it works great. This is my second Holosun product. I had the Holosun SCS. I had that on my Glock 20 actually, and that was also a great optic. That one, I really liked it because it didn't have any batteries that you needed to change on it. It was a solar charging system. It had the little the solar panel on it, so it would charge in regular light, natural lighting, like outside, like the sun, like if you shoot outside, or just regular indoor lighting. You could take it out your safe if you got the gun put away, or let it sit on your counter. You know what I mean? You could charge it like that, or you could even charge it, at the range when you take it out and just shoot it. Any little bit of lighting that you keep it in, even if it's stored in natural lighting, it'll automatically charge it. The only problem I had with that one over time after shooting it that I had come to realize was that the window was super small. If you know the SCS, it's cool because it's cut for the MOS system, so it will mount to any Glock. But I just didn't like the small window. I felt like once I got used to the bigger windows, pretty much I just didn't really like the smaller optics anymore. And like I said, I'm blind as a bat, man. My eyesight really ain't that good. So for me, I need the biggest window I can get my hands on. And as y'all can see, I do have this thing sighted in already. I took it to the range to kind of adjust it, like maybe about a month ago. I was just kind of sighting it in a little more because I noticed when I was shooting, it was a little bit off. And I would normally sight my pistols between like 5 or 7 yards, which a lot of like top shooters, like videos that I watch, will recommend you to at least sight it in at 15 yards minimum. So I went and did that, and to be honest, it works much better. Even when I train at close distances, like 5 to 7 yards, it's a lot more accurate. But if I even want to shoot further, like 10 or 15 yards or even 20 yards, it's still going to be just as accurate. So I do like the fact that I got this thing sighted in even better now, because wherever I put that dot at, that's where the bullet goes. And like I said, man, this thing has held up. I had this between two guns. I had this on my Echelon, and my Echelon, I put about 650 rounds through that. I never shot my Echelon without the optic on it. So I actually bought this optic for the Echelon, and when I put it on there, I ran about 650 rounds through the gun at the time of its lifespan before I got rid of it. And when I got rid of it, I kept the optic because I didn't want to get rid of it, and I wasn't trying to get ripped off. So I figured I'd just reuse it. I sent this out to get cut for the dot, and it's since been mounted on here. Now, I got this back about 2 months ago to slide, and I put about 1,900 rounds through the gun since I've had it back, and these screws are really good. I don't know what screws that company used, but the screws are really good. Like, it's no shaking on this, no looseness or anything. And I've shot a lot of heavy 124 grain rounds through this, 115 grain, and nothing. Like, the optic will not come loose on here. I have yet to see it get loose. Like, these screws are reinforced. They're not the screws that come with the 507 comp. The company that I sent this out to, they use their own custom screws that they use to fit the gun directly to the slide. As you can see, there's no plate on here, which I prefer it that way because I like the optic to sit as low as possible so that you can co-witness. I did have to change the sights out because the sights that I had just wasn't gonna work, the OEM sights. And like I said, man, I have no complaints about this thing. As you can see, I have blacked out rear sights and front sights on there because I have no intentions in using my backup sights. But if I need to, they're there. And I know a lot of y'all are gonna probably prefer colored front posts like a tritium or fiber optic, but in reality, from my experience shooting with fiber optic fronts with an optic green dot, it kind of interferes with it. And I just like the fact that I don't have to focus on anything. I can just kind of line it up and there we go. You know what I mean? There's no colored front post, so I don't have to worry about that interfering with my green dot, and I can just shoot away when I'm at the range. So I do like that. That's kind of why I went with the blacked out sights, because in reality, you know, unless your optic goes down, you know, which the chances of that happening are slim, especially for a company like Holosun. This is the only pistol optic that I have at the moment. I don't plan on getting any more, to be honest. If I do, it'll probably be an enclosed emitter. If I ever do get another pistol, because like I said, this is the only gun that I have right now that's cut for an optic, and it's not going anywhere. I really like the Holosun 507 comp. I feel like, yes, it is geared more towards competition and not EDC or concealed carry, but I conceal carry this thing with no issues whatsoever. I know it's a big optic, so a lot of y'all might think that it prints, but in reality, it doesn't print at all. I've come to see that. I mean, I don't wear really small clothes anyway. I wear pretty baggy shirts. I kind of dress around my EDC, so just carrying, you know what I mean, it's easier for me to conceal big guns. And also having a good holster helps out as well. So, you know what I mean, that works. But yeah, man, like I said, I'm not gonna say too much more about this thing, man. The Holosun 507 comp, it does have the 3 different settings. I don't even know if you'll be able to tell on here if it'll, let me see if, try to see if I can swap it out for y'all so that y'all can see the different. Okay, no, that one was not what I wanted to do. Okay, there we go. We're gonna go to the dot. That's the dot right there. I don't know if the camera will pick that up. And then that's still gonna be the circle without the dot on it. And then last but not least, which is the one I run, is going to be the dot with the circle in the middle. So basically the circle, the reticle, and then it has a little dot in the middle of it. That's the one that I like to run most, because it's just easier for me to pick up the sight easier when I'm shooting down range. The circle with the dot in the middle is just easier to pick up for me, at least. I've heard some people say they just like to run the dot alone, and that's fine. But like I said, yeah, the circle dot works for me, and I really like that Holosun uses that, because for people like me with bad eyesight, that thing just comes right up when I present the pistol. It comes right up. And granted, I'm not no professional shooter, man, like, and no means or know how. I'm still learning how to shoot with green dots. So like having the optic on here, you know, it's still something that is, you know, a skill to be acquired, basically, man. So, you know, I'm still kind of learning how to present the dot and just be able to find it easily. Sometimes it's a hit or miss. You know, most of the time I do find myself finding it more than it being there already, because I'm still working on that. You know what I mean? When you present the pistol, it's getting easier over time for sure, but it's still something to be acquired. Like I said, you know, it's not a skill that you're gonna learn overnight. You know, it's not like iron sights where you can just line the sights up and just shoot. It's much easier. But I can tell you this thing, you know, it's much more accurate when you do start using dots and actually understand how they work. It's definitely a lot more accurate. So I see why a lot of competition shooters use them. Is it relevant for EDC? That's a story I'll get into another time, man. But in reality, that's your opinion versus mine. You know, my opinion is I just like the dot because I feel like, yes, it's easier to shoot at the range. And all in all, once you learn how to find it, then you'll just be good with both sights and dots. So in my opinion, there's no loss in there. It's a win-win situation overall once you acquire the skill and get better with it. But yeah, man, like I said, for 2,500 rounds, this thing has ran like a champ. The dot has not went out on me. You know what I mean? I'm not doing no torture tests. I know the housing is reinforced and stuff like that. I'm sure it could take a beating, you know, racking off the optic and stuff like that. I've done it a handful of times, but just for, you know, just for giggles, man. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to really sit here and bash this thing up. That's not what I'm gonna do. Over time, obviously, it'll wear on its own, but in reality, you know, I'll leave that to the, you know, the bigger names out there that want to throw this thing out the roof and hit the ground and do drop tests on. I'm not doing all that with this, but you know, for what you want to use it for, everyday, you know, carry or just, you know, your regular everyday training, it's going to take the beating on the heavy recoil, which granted, you know, 9mm doesn't recoil much, especially with the ramjet on here, but overall, man, like I said, it's just an optic that'll be able to, you know, you'll be able to throw some rounds down range, and you know, it'll be able to stand the test of time. So 2,500 rounds, yes, it may not seem like a lot to most people, but that's more than most of you are going to shoot anyway. You know what I mean? So just trying to give y'all my initial input on it. As the round count gets higher, I'll eventually make another video letting y'all know if I ran into any issues. But so far, this thing is a go, man. I do like Holosun. Like I said, my second product from them, not disappointed whatsoever. I feel like I'll definitely buy more stuff from them down the line. But yeah, man, I'm gonna end the video here. Ain't gonna make it too much longer, man. If y'all want to know anything else, just hit me up in the comments. Otherwise, I'm gonna catch you on the next video, man. Y'all be safe out there.